It was just the best time for cars.
And look at this.
And
this
back then we had
a postal service.
Oh, what is that?
It's a postal
AMC?
card. Yeah, 67
Show
ambassadors.
the camera, Matthew.
Okay, sorry.
And back then we were not afraid to have colors on cars either. Cars were colorful. They're now pretty much gray.
Is that a right-hand drive car?
I hope not. It's the U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah, it's a postal. It's in a museum right now.
Yeah, they made their postal cars right-hand drive. AMC did. My uncle had one.
Well, just like Jeep did, right? For the
Correct.
You're against steel frame dashboards, though, I would assume, right?
No, it was finished in that crackle black paint, and it was gorgeous.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay. I just meant from a safety aspect.
I don't care.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It had combing. You know, it had upholstered combing. If you
I
slammed
love the
your head
combing.
forward, there was a fighting chance you'd hit the padding.
Can I get some more combing on this?
Well, new topic, Joe.
Bob Holton from...
Holton, Michigan.
No, he's in Perdido Key, Florida.
Oh.
And he wants us to know that a Pensacola news talk radio station refused to Tim Walz as Governor Jazz Hands. So we got that going for us. And we have, I don't know if I should bring this up or not, but I think it's important. Let me see if she said don't say this. Yesterday I said if you're ever feeling blue and you think you got it rough, there are people with a disease where their brain falls out. And, of course, it actually doesn't fall out onto the street. It
kind of deteriorates.
It just settles down onto the spinal cord. And should I read this?
Well, just read up to the part where she says don't read it.
All right. Hi, Joe. My husband played part of your show for me from yesterday, I believe, about a girl with Chiari, where the brain pushes out of the base of the skull. I, too, have this. I suffered headaches and pain growing up, not knowing why. In 2007, it all came to light when things worsened horribly. I had a notebook page front and back with symptoms. I lost feeling in a word I can't pronounce, arms and partially in my legs. I have 3 kids, and to give them a bath, I couldn't even feel the temp of the water on my hands. Wow. It affected almost every part of the body one way or another. When my brain hemiated out of the skull, God almighty, it blocked off the flow of spinal fluid, and the fluid had to go somewhere, so it split about a 4-inch section of my spinal cord and started pooling in there, causing what is called a syntax or a syringomyelia. I couldn't understand what was happening. My doctor got me into an MRI, and the next week I was at the university having brain surgery. Chiari is rare and hard to find a qualified surgeon. They went in and took out a section of skull, then they opened the sac to the brain to make more room. They have to put a patch on the brain to close the covering and leave room. They also did a laminectomy of the top vertebrae. I was told this is one of the most painful surgeries, and they were right. When they do this surgery, they do not know if you will get back to normal symptoms. Oh. It depends on the damage done. After surgery, you've lost a lot of spinal fluid, which gives excruciating headaches. Just trying to roll over in bed was horrible. I went home and was not getting better. We were told to pay attention to the incision, and if clear fluid comes out, I needed to get back down there. I was so out of it with pain, and sure enough, clear fluid showed. The patch on my brain burst. We live northwest of Alexandria, and my husband was able to drive me down, but we had to pull into the emergency bay in Alex for them to fill me up on pain meds to be able to make the trip laying across the back seat. I was rushed down and in surgery again. I lost the use of my bladder and the ability to walk normally. I went home, and we started to notice a huge lump. God, I hope this gets better, because I didn't read the whole thing. A huge lump forming on the back of my head, and sure enough, it burst again. They didn't realize that because of the spinal cord splitting apart and pooling, that it was causing way too much pressure and not allowing the patch on the brain to heal down and seal. So they did a third surgery and fixed the patch once again, and then put a shunt in, a drainage tube, into the spinal cord. Things were finally able to seal. With this surgery, they called it a success if they can stop progression. I was grateful to get back feeling again and walking and using the bathroom. I still have a lot of pain and issues that will be lifelong, but I'm grateful for gaining some things back. It was nice of you to share the other gal's story. With these rare conditions, it is sometimes these stories that can help others. Don't give up on doctoring when there are things wrong and symptoms are there. And don't let the doctors give up on you. If I had, I'd probably be paralyzed and living a much different life. That's from Stephanie. So you never know,
what
huh?
an upbeat attitude for all the crap she had to go through.
And that was the second
God
email I
bless you.
received on that. So I'm glad you're feeling better. And Lee Stout wants us to know that most people are not polarized in this country.
I don't think I am.
I don't know what you are.
I don't either.
Joe, most people are not polarized. Both on the GL podcast and the Weekly Scramble, Chris and you mentioned this. Our leadership is or acts like it, but most people are not. First, most people don't pay any attention. I think the split is 50% paying no attention, 30% common sense / middle, 10% left, 10% right. The problem, 5% of the left and right are 100% of the social media. I do not know how to make people care. Lee from Woodbury.
The 10%, I think, would be referred to as extreme on both sides. I don't know if you
I
guys
was
agree.
waiting to weigh in, and he did it for me 100% of social media.
What are you giving me?
Just read that. The poor guy trying to do
Tweet,
just a fun
Joe,
deed.
Twitter is a absolute cesspool
Yes.
of political arguments.
Yep.
It's so discouraging.
Message. I'm glad you said something about the Antonov landing. That was the large cargo Antonov plane that landed here yesterday.
He took off this morning.
I hadn't heard about it before, but it was impressive to watch it come in. Cost me some money, though. I got a parking ticket for waiting on the Fort Snelling Park entrance road, then bought a season pass so I could park in the park, then had to walk up the hill to see it. It's 68. That's a big hill. Listener from the Sunday night days, very infrequent emailer, Larry. Well, Larry.
Why are they ticketing on
Why
Fort
didn't
Snelling?
Larry
was
just
just
go
gonna-
to Post Road?
Nobody's there.
I was just going to ask, why would he have received a ticket on that Fort Snelling entrance?
I don't know, and there's
Yeah,
nobody.
what's he doing way over there? Didn't it come in by that Super America, Matthew?
Yeah. It
30.
It came in.
30B.
It came in
over-
to the west.
came over Snelling Lake, yes.
Yes, and you saw it.
It flew.
You not only saw it, you were in it.
Yes, I didn't have. It flew over me as I was on 5 going to the airport.
Oh.
But then I got to go down to the ramp, and Kyle was going to post. I sent Kyle some stuff, so hey,
Turn that
I
on
forgot
mute.
to turn it off. And I got to board, got to go in the cockpit, and it was those guys can smoke. That was the smoking flight. It was not.
Was it a
non-
Ukrainian crew?
Yes, and my superiors were very impressed when I would say "Что такое?" What's
What
going
were
on?
they delivering that required that aircraft?
Huge. I don't know if they were compressors or if they were some type of electronic conveyor, and it was full. And those things they look so heavy.
Where did the plane arrive from?
Toronto or Montreal? It wasn't clear to
It
me.
was Montreal.
So despite the tariff threats, we had some big machinery arrive here.
Are you going to make this political? Why don't you just go to my Twitter account and start bitching with the rest of the ass wipes that took something that was fun and enjoyable and turned it into a ridiculous political argument? You are the people that ruined Twitter. I hate all of you.
So we got these big machines arrived,
With all due
Yeah,
respect.
and then
the crew had timed out. That's why they had to stop here.
where were they going?
They were going to California.
Oh,
deliver their
the
product.
stuff didn't get unloaded here.
No, it stayed on board. And they
Matthew.
stayed overnight.
I watched the departure this morning. I couldn't believe the ease that thing got off the ground. I was expecting a struggle and using the whole strip there.
I've got news for you. I've learned something from Mr. Airport today.
It just popped up in the air.
That's not even the biggest one, is it?
No.
No, the biggest one was destroyed in 2022. The Russians destroyed it. The one that was here,
Is the one that was
You're-
here the only one of its kind?
that was the largest, yes. And that was delivering the crane for
No,
whatever.
wait. The one that was here yesterday and today it took off. Is that the current only one of its kind?
I believe there are 3.
Okay.
but I don't know what sizes.
From a fuel standpoint, in all seriousness, if it's just going to California, because I got to imagine that they're only putting whatever, right? Because you have to worry about weight and all that stuff, correct?
That thing never worries about weight because it's so. Yes, they have to worry about weight, but
Okay.
that thing carries everything.
The thing is
Joe,
massive.
According to what I've been discovering, it's been here 2014, 2015, 18, 19, and 20.
This one or the bigger one that's now no longer exists?
Matthew would know that.
That I don't know. I just know the bigger one that was destroyed was here several years ago because the company
Joe.
that I work for gets to do the lavatory and the.
Did the 15 crew members, all Ukrainian, not a facetious question, did they sleep on the plane? Or do they get to go to a hotel?
No, they went to a hotel. Overnight, they went to a hotel. but-
Joe, people were tagging my video and tagging like the governor, demanding answers, tagging Elon Musk and
Why?
Trump. I don't know, because everything's political. You can't just enjoy something.
Why would that huge beast be political? I had two sons that were nerding out on it. Gabe's like, "You're on the biggest."
Was he like
He was
that?
like, he said, "You're on the largest plane in the world, and you're up in the cockpit. I can't believe it." And 50 years of
Because you had no idea what you were looking at.
No, but he did point it out. It was built in the 80s.
Did you have some good
under Soviet rule.
Ukrainian one-liners ready to go for the crew?
Hey, что такое желаю удачи, yeah? Спасибо.
Did you say that to him?
Yeah, I said, "How are you doing?" And then "Спасибо" is thank you.
I heard them talking to the tower, and the English, not so bad. I could understand.
No, the
it.
pilot spoke fairly good English.
Yeah.
Well, it was all extremely interesting.
Yeah, well, I hope you enjoy the pictures that I
I'm
took.
looking forward to it.
Did you go out and try to see it? You
I
said you were
had-
going to.
I had to work. I don't have any fun.
Gabe was in.
I had a column to write.
Yep.
Gabe was in,
I knew it.
Gabe was in Lilydale watching for it to go off. He knew what time it was going off, and he didn't think there would
Off
be
or landing?
taken off.
Yeah.
And he didn't think there would be a distinction seen that far. And then when it came up, he said, "Oh, yeah, I can see." So he took a little video of it, and he said it is cool seeing that thing take off.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the state's deficit because we should nip in the bud a little lying that the DFLers are doing. They're trying to blame the fact that there's going to be a budget deficit in Minnesota on Trump, who's been in office about 40 days. He's not responsible for the way these people with a trifecta have spent money.
What policy changes has he made in Minnesota so
None
far?
that I'm aware of that would affect the budget deficit.
Got it.
Republicans say the DFL trifecta had already run the state down the road from a huge surplus to a sizable projected deficit. We knew about this way before Trump got elected, and now you have some gaslighting DFLers who want to say this is Republicans' fault. Republicans didn't spend the money. You people did. What do you have there?
This is Minnesota Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy blaming President Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But never in our history have we had to do that work up against a president who seemed hell-bent on crashing the American economy. Only one thing has changed since the November forecast, and that is the inauguration of President Donald Trump. In the last 50 days, the stock market has tanked, and more than 170,000 Americans have lost their jobs.
No, we just can't
In
stop
Minnesota,
her.
he-
Stop. I can't listen to that.
Hold on.
She's lying.
We don't know that.
Well, she's lying about the fact that Trump caused this. It's absolute lie. She's a gaslighter. Here's what I was thinking today. I tried to have a charitable thought.
You tried.
I tried. You can tell me if it's charitable or not. But this is all BS. The spending problems and the deficit problems in Minnesota are because of the DFL. Why wouldn't it be nice if DFLers running for office were honest? What if they said, I want to run for office in order to spend money? No, let me finish. I'm serious. What if they said, if Aaron Murphy knocked on your door and said, "Hi, I'm Aaron Murphy. I've been a legislator for quite some time. I wish to continue to be because I believe I can make the state better by spending your money. I believe I can make the state better by enlarging your government spending your money, and I'm very in favor of spending as much as possible. At least that would be honest.
Right.
You know what I would say next? I would say, okay, I'll vote for you if you show me how you're going to do that. Don't just say take my money. And if I think you're
Because
deeds
none
are
of them have that message. You never hear that from any of them. They're all there to fight for you. They're all there to right wrongs. They're all there to fix problems, all of which are of their own making.
They do use the line fully fund education, though.
Well, that's impossible because there's no way to know when education is fully funded, which is why education currently is already and has been for quite some time more than half the state's budget. And as the education budget increases, the kids increasingly fail to learn to read or do math. Not always a teacher's fault. But why don't you DFLers be honest? You blew an $18 billion surplus. You couldn't spend it fast enough. You've set yourselves up for this deficit problem. Trump had nothing to do with it. Zero. Zero.
Why don't they realize that already?
They do
They
realize
do.
it,
They're
but they're
lying.
lying and they're gaslighting, and it'll play well with the people who go to Costco wearing their pajamas. People aren't paying attention.
It's Walmart, not Costco.
Okay, Walmart.
Yeah,
People
don't
aren't
besmirch
paying
Costco.
attention.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
be
We gotta-
bad-mouthing Costco.
Don't
We got a pensioner here.
don't fall for this BS that this is somehow. They've had a Democratic governor, a
through the
Democratic House, and a Democratic Senate for quite some time now in Minnesota, and they have spent every penny they can get their hands on, and they're lying to you. They're gaslighting would be the more accurate term. Now that I finally truly understand what gaslighting means. It came from some old movie in which a guy tried to drive the wife nuts and he told her the lights were on or something.
Is that South by Southwest?
Something like that. No, that's on tonight, by the way.
It's called Gaslight, actually.
Should we come on?
Gaslight, yeah.
Yeah. Bring some
Head
popcorn.
over.
You know how I learned
Some
about it?
sandwiches.
There's a song by Steely Dan called Gaslighting Abby. That's how I learned what gaslighting.
Really?
Is it a slow burn like that? Gaslighting? Yeah.
But Joe, don't you think it's who's listening, who's hearing the message? Because when they tell me all their promises on the campaign trail, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you're going to spend money on this.
Okay.
You're going to spend money on this. And so do you.
Yeah.
But like you said, the pajama wearers, they're not hearing that. They're just hearing we're going to fix everything that's wrong.
Aaron, why
Even
don't
if
you,
it's not
Aaron,
Leave my people out of this with the pajamas.
Aaron, why don't you shock your neighbors by being honest? Why don't you just go to their door the next time you door knock and say, "Hi, I really love to spend money. When I walk through those Capitol doors, that's the only thing on my mind is to spend as much as possible."
You're asking a politician to be honest?
Yes, I am.
Noble.
I want to talk to you about Bradshaw and Bryant. They're the personal injury attorneys of Garage Logic, because if you're like me and many others, you might be a little confused about what the steps are to be taken if you're ever in an accident. You got to deal with the insurance companies and adjusters, and you got to have someone on your side. Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant and his team are there. They will explain your rights, represent you, and help you in a tough time. These guys are top drawer. For 6 years, Mike Bryant has been recognized as a super lawyer. I've seen those lists of the super lawyers. If I was a lawyer, I'd want to make that list because they're the super lawyers.
Yeah.
You know, they have superpowers. And Bradshaw and Bryant hopes you're never in an accident, but if you are, call them. 800-770-7008 or go to minnesotapersonalinjury.com. And Bradshaw and Bryant preach common sense. They don't want you to be a problem. They don't want you to have a problem. Don't text and drive or drive distracted. That's just common sense from Bradshaw and Bryant.
Mother, The Joe Souchere Show.
North American Banking Company. Look, I'm rocking the sweet new shirt I got from Bilski at North American Banking Company today. Here's the deal. It's banking done differently with my friends at North American Banking Company, and they have 6 fantastic Twin Cities locations to serve you, your family, and your business. The 2 locations for yours truly are Roseville and 50th in France, but you can also be served by them in Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and Maple Grove. They do offer all of the services as the other big national banks. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or maybe get that new car that you've been thinking about. Dylan Height. My friends at North American Banking Company are going to be able to help you out. They take the time to get to know you, your family, and your business, and they've been doing that since 1998 when they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. And while a lot has changed since then, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities, that has not. So check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. Joe?
May I read to you from MPR, Minnesota Public Radio?
By all means.
An economic forecast released yesterday shows state officials have less money to work with in setting the next 2-year budget, the primary task of a legislative session nearing its halfway point. Lawmakers also have a larger deficit to worry about down the road if they don't make big cuts or find new sources of revenue. This is before finance officials consider potential federal budget funding rollbacks. That's important to note. This is before any effect financially on the state from federal cutbacks. Those haven't happened yet. Minnesota finance officials say lawmakers have $456 million in extra money at their disposal, which Democrats would just soon spend, which is down substantially from a prior estimate just a few months ago, and it isn't a lot of slack in the context of a budget that will top $66 billion. Worse, a future potential deficit has grown even bigger to nearly $6 billion. This is from Minnesota Public Radio.
Okay.
This is not from Alpha News.
Okay.
This isn't from me. This is
Making it
from
up.
Minnesota Public Radio. Minnesota Management and Budget Commissioner Aaron Campbell said added to that is uncertainty over the impact of possible federal changes. Well, you know what I would do if I was a legislator worried about that potential impact? I certainly would be, I would be circling my wagons. I wouldn't be planning any spending. About 1/3 of the state's overall budget is propped up by federal money, and that hasn't been impacted yet. That's an enormous amount of money, Campbell said. If federal action meant that we would lose those resources, the impact of the state budget could really be devastating. So NPR is attempting to report objectively here, but really isn't, because they wish to align their reporting with the idea that this is somehow Trump's fault. It isn't. It was clear who well, I take that back, NPR. Maybe you did do this subjectively. It was clear who Democrats were ready to blame for the dip in the forecast compared to the one released last fall. The only thing that's changed since November is Donald Trump's chaos to the economy, Walls said. All right, Tim, what chaos is that right now? He's been there 40 days. What's the chaos? I'm perfectly willing to accept the idea that there could be chaos. Where is it at this moment? Donald Trump is wrecking our economy, said House DFLer Melissa Hortman. You mean unlike you when you took your salary and didn't work for the first month of the session? Trump, Musk, and Republicans in Congress have got to pull their heads out of their asses, said DFL Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy. You people are beautiful. You are really amazing. Again, I wish you were honest and say the reason you're there is to spend money. You have spent more money than you should have. You are to blame for this $6 billion deficit. You brought it about.
If it's any consolation, the video clip that I played for you of Murphy that you made me stop, and I don't blame you after 20 seconds.
Yeah.
The comments below that, it was an Alpha News clip, so take what you will out of it.
Yeah.
Most of them are really pushing back against the DFL.
Well, it's just preposterous to blame anybody for this except the DFL in Minnesota, which is no longer your parents' DFL and hasn't been for some time now.
But they're playing to their base.
They came there to spend your money, and they do a hell of a job spending it. They can spend money with the best of them.
They're here for one reason.
You're here for one reason, and you accomplish that. And Republicans said it was Democrats who got the budget into this situation. Well, of course it was. They throw out the boogeyman of Trump and all that stuff, said Senate Minority Leader Mark Johnson. It's like Chicken Little right now, running around saying the sky is falling. But when it comes to state issues, they become ostriches and put their head in the sand.
Right.
House Republican Speaker Lisa Demuth said it's a deflection to blame Trump, who has been in office for less than 2 months. She said Democrats put Minnesota on a reckless course, and this show was telling you that 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The position that the Democrats in the state of Minnesota has pushed us in is unsustainable. This is still Demuth. That's why we're going to focus on that first. She said, we are now looking at a $6 billion deficit. This was an irresponsible spending spree, and now we have to figure that out. In other words, the adults have to come in and clean up this mess. And it won't happen without higher taxes on the average Minnesotan.
Nope.
So don't spare me this BS, DFLers. Trump has nothing to do with it. And I'm sure they know that. It's part of their agenda.
Do you think they gathered around in like a focus group and said, okay, what do we got here? What do we go with to the public?
Probably, but they also would not have needed to, because it's their reflexive reaction is to be held blameless. This isn't our fault.
Hey.
This is the Republicans' fault. Well, no, it isn't. You're the only people who've been in power. So there's nowhere we can take that today except
Take it to the House.
be aware of their BS, because that's all it is.
Like the line I get from the roommate, even when it's her fault, it's my fault that it's her fault.
Well, that's the 50-50-90 rule.
Yeah.
You got a 50% chance of being right. You're going to be wrong 50% of the time.
Chris, if she does it
90%
wrong, it's my
of the time.
fault.
Kenny, you mean like last year when she had expired tabs and she got stopped and
Yeah,
that
that's
was
your
my fault?
Yeah.
Hell, yes, it is.
Oh.
That's a man's
I
job.
guess
Go.
I didn't realize that.
It's gotten to the point at my house where she admits she's wrong, but then it's still my fault. I don't understand.
Well,
it.
and
What,
that's
what
when
can
you-
I say then?
That's
What-
when you
know.
walk cautiously on eggshells and try to get out of the room as quiet as possible.
Isn't the real value of time a garage logic principle, where you take something like putting on the license tabs and you turn it into an hour of solace out in the garage, and maybe have a beer, and you got the game on the TV, and you come in, you say, boy, those bolts were rusty on your license
we
plate.
gotta
Man,
take
I had
it
to
off,
work. I had to
put
use
it back
deep creep and
on.
everything to get your license
Hardware
off.
store, sure.
Man alive, I had to go get new hardware.
Got to run to town.
I got to go to town.
Get some new wipers.
Matt, there's no wipers
It
involved.
rains.
Oh.
So you tell her you do that. You tell her you get new wipers. Yeah, you don't make those 28 inches like they used to.
So there you have it. The budget's in trouble. The state's in trouble financially. We predicted it. It's as sure as rain. This was coming, and there's not a hell of a lot we can do about it except root for the Republicans in the House to get the Democrats to see some sensibility. I doubt if they will.
But what will happen if they do, they'll just pout. They'll take their ball and they'll go home like they did at the beginning of the session. You can't win.
I do have for you before Johnny. Well, I want to play this Somali legislator.
Oh,
Yeah. I'll save today's Feeding Our Future comedy sketch for later. All right. We came upon news that a Somali-born Maine state representative, whose name is, I have all that information. Her name is Deqa, D-E-Q-A, Dalek, D-H-A-L-A-C.
Decadelic?
She was born in either 1968 or 1969. Sometimes the birth dates of the Somalis who emigrate is somewhat confused.
So she's about 56.
She's a member of the Maine House of Representatives. She was a first, of course. She was the first Somali American to become the mayor of South Portland, Maine. I don't know how. It's about 95% white, but she must be a very powerful politician. In any event, she's now a member of the Maine House of Representatives, and she said this in a subcommittee hearing of the Maine legislature, and I think this was said yesterday.
I have the date line of March 5th on this, so 2 days ago.
2 days ago. This is a.
Sorry, which clip did you want first? Did you want the one that's in English or the one that is not in English?
The one that is not in English.
Okay,
That's
here we
more
go.
fun.
Ready?
Yep.
waxaan kaloo idinkula dardaarmi lahaa insha Allah haddii aynu Soomaalinahay inaynu maaragtay wax wada qabsano dalkii ka fikirno dalkii wax tarno oo maaragtay haddii aynu dalka dibadiisa aynu joogno ama gudihiisaba aynu mar walba maaragtay aynu ka fikirno sidii aynu dalka horumarintiisa uga fikiri lahayn especially dadkeena jooga maaragtay qurba joogta ah.
6.
Would you read the interpretation of that, Chris?
We Somalis living outside of Somalia must always prioritize our country, which is Somalia. Pause while it translates into the next paragraph. Please stand by. Sorry, it's taken a minute. And thinking of developing our own country. That was the next paragraph. This must be done, especially by those Somalis abroad, such as in the United States.
Well, if I was a resident of Maine, of course, I have to put up with Ilhan, who thinks the same thing. I'd be a little disgruntled, I think.
So if we were doing the Garage Logic version of Portland, Maine,
right,
you'd be up in arms.
This might come up.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have one from her in English.
Correct.
All right. And this was what? Can you give us the background of this?
Dalek has also previously made headlines for claiming that new Americans deserve priority treatment over United States veterans.
All right.
The military folks that are getting out of the military and they have to go through all the lines and start all over again, even though they have credentials. So my question, pretty simple. Why would we fast track them and we won't do it for our military?
They have the advantage of speaking the language, most of our military folks. So these folks that we're really working on may not have that. So it's going to be really difficult for them to say, yes, I used to be an electrician in my country. I'm just using mine, which is Somalia. But that might not really fall into our laws that we have in this country.
I think she was asked, why should veterans be second fiddle to newly arrived people?
Correct.
And she's somehow justifying that on the basis of the fact that they don't speak English very well?
Yes.
Well, that makes no sense.
No kidding.
She was born in Mogadishu. Her father was a petroleum engineer. She described her father as a feminist because he believed in the importance of girls' education and their important role in the family.
Why is that a feminist? That would just be a realist.
Most dads think that, don't they?
Do you have the other two committees that she's involved with at your disposal, sir?
I do not.
In 2021, more than 30 years after first coming to the United States to flee civil war in Somalia, she became the first, as Joe mentioned, Somali American mayor in the country. She's the co-founder of Cross Cultural Community Services and formerly worked as the Assistant Executive Director at Gateway Community Services in Portland. In 2024, she sponsored legislation that helped establish the new Office of New Americans within state government.
All right. She's married. She has 3 kids. What I would say, and I don't mean it, what's the word, John, for when you distrust foreign people? What's the word I'm thinking of? When you want to be an isolationist, you're something.
I know what you mean.
What's the word? Xenophobic. Yeah. I don't say this out of any sense of xenophobia. Why don't people, and I'm being very serious, she's now educated, as is Ilhan Omar, and I'm sure there are other Somalians, not only maybe business people, but politicians in this country. And if they're so concerned about Somalia, and I don't mean this in anything except positivity, and they care so much about Somalia, why don't they go to Somalia and attempt to resurrect or form the country to their liking?
Because we're easy pickings.
Well, because they're looking for the tentacle of the United States government to help them rebuild portions of their country. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, probably, sure. But go to Mogadishu, Dulac, and bring the knowledge you've acquired and attempt to restore your country to some semblance of sanity.
Why would you want to?
You wouldn't want to leave Maine for that, would you?
Okay, why would you want to come here? She's educated, obviously. She's been here 30 years.
Because Somalia is war-torn and disruptive.
That's my point. Why would she want to celebrate a Somalia that puts female education down?
In that first clip you played where you had to interpret it, didn't I hear her say, or the interpretation say, that she wanted to turn the United States into something that was more like Somalia? That was what I took
portion,
away. Was that,
yes.
Did I hear that wrong?
I believe it was a
play,
portion.
Play the translation again.
Well, here, how about I just read it?
I mean, read it.
I think I can translate
We
it.
Somalis living outside of Somalia must always prioritize our country, Somalia. Bear with me, and thinking of developing our country. This must be done especially by those Somalis abroad, such as in the United States.
Oh, okay. So I did hear that wrong.
Yeah.
I got a better idea, Joe, to answer your question. I think what Dulac should do is maybe spearhead a campaign or a foundation in which we're going to feed starving kids in the city of Maine. And let's get a bunch of money, and we'll hide it as a shell company and send it overseas.
Hey.
I bet that's been tried. She, due to events leading to the Somali Civil War, she fled the country in 1990 to Rome on a flight intended to head to Libya because there were no more embassy services available on the precipice of war. She planned to apply for asylum. Unfortunately, other people had the same idea, so they were held at too many people had the same idea. So they were held at the airport, I guess, in Rome for over a month. She was released to the care of her cousin who lived in Italy. Dalek then moved to England. Then she moved to Toronto in 1991. In 1992, she married Abdi Farah, a Somali businessman from Atlanta, whose family had been close to her family, and she began her activism to get immigrants to become citizens and register to vote. She worked as a cashier in a parking garage. Imagine that, a Somali as a cashier in a parking garage. With her accounting degree, she received accounts receivable job in a hotel. Because she had known English, it was easier for her to excel in her career. In 2005, she moved to Lewiston, Maine with her. What is Lewiston, Maine famous for in the world of sports?
Golf shoes.
No.
Yeah, it is, actually. You're wrong.
I don't know.
It's where Ali beat Sonny Liston.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh.
Were you there?
No.
Who you calling boy?
That was Ken Norton.
Okay.
In 2005, she moved to Lewiston, Maine with her family, but without her husband, who stayed to take care of his business in Atlanta, but they visit frequently. She has lived in South Portland, Maine since 2008. She's an interpreter for Catholic Charities of Maine. And then she opened her own interpreting service and earned 2 master's degrees in policy and social work from the University of New Hampshire and the University of New England. Okay.
May I?
Yeah.
I love this word xenophobia, and I looked it up, and once I discovered the full true meaning, I then re-Googled, when is xenophobia good? And in no circumstance is it good. It is always bad. Mm-hmm. Well, what do you call it when you stand up against what she said?
Well, in standing up against what she said, I could only appeal to her. Well, what is there to appeal to? She has no genetic code that would predispose her to this life in the United States.
What I'm saying that when you stand up to those people and say, you're wrong, that can't happen in this country, you're accused
of racism.
Being,
Yep.
Yeah.
no matter what.
Well,
when you stand up against it, you are immediately the bad person.
That's why that type of ideology, Kenny, it's complete Teflon. Yeah, it's bulletproof.
No one has figured out this more cleverly than the Somalia people among us. They are really, really bold
They're
people.
savvy. They're savvy.
They're very savvy, very bold, and they think nothing of getting their hands on as much money as possible, however illegally legally.
To the point where we've got a trial going on right now, and we want to build a museum.
Yeah, we want $1 million a year. God bless Somalis. I'm sure there are many Somalis who have assimilated or make every attempt to, and they love the country and they root for the Twins, and let's go. Let's have some apple pie and go to buy a Chevrolet.
Along those lines, we don't mention this enough. It was a Somalian who turned in the wrongdoers with the food fraud.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. But outnumbering them are the likes of this woman and Ilhan Omar, who would use official power to bring about changes that we don't even recognize. It is not your job, DACA, as a Maine legislator, to have your first priority be the country of Somalia.
But we'll never win because even us talking about it, we're being, would it be xenophobic?
I think that was the wrong word.
But you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
That's what Ilhan would throw in our face. Simply the fact that we oppose her, we're racist.
Yeah, what I oppose are her ideas. Well, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, we have to.
All right, let's take a break and get Johnny.
Let's talk to Kenny first.
All right.
Huh?
Well, thanks, pal. Bring us down as low as we possibly could get.
I'm not bringing you low. I think DACA is.
And then throw it to me so I can talk about the wonders of Seafoam. If you go to seafoamworks.com, you click on the Deep Creep tab, you're going to see the banner saying, Deep Creep is a premium grade shop lubricant, and it penetrates and creeps deeper and works harder and lasts longer. And that's all well and good, written by a professional. That's their company line. The GL line is, holy balls, this stuff is amazing. An example, if that vice grip you lost last fall, if it just reappeared out of a melting snow drift looking all crusty and rusty, and you might think, what's the point? Don't do it. Don't throw it away. Spray a bunch of Deep Creep into a pan, let her soak for a day or two, and then fill it up again and let it soak, and then take it out of there, clean it off, and put it back to work. Deep Creep cleans, it protects, it restores, and it saves lives. I believe it might have been at fault for saving the mayor's life. If it wasn't for Deep Creep, your fake mayor, the flashlight king, he could have been cremated by the Midway Express a couple of weeks ago when he was an unwilling passenger in a horrible tiny little clown car when it coughed and died on the tracks. Turns out Matthew took the advice and had a can of Deep Creep rolling around in back, and those doors and those hinges work perfectly, saving the life of the mayor. You can find the Deep Creep wherever fine automotive chemicals are sold, right there in the automotive aisle. Do what we've been recommending, buying 3 cans, 1 for the house, 1 for the shop, and, of course, 1 for the car. A wonderful product from our friends at Seafoam. We're talking about Deep Creep.
We call that a nice, clean edit to the song. Speaking of clean, how about some clean water from my friends at Haferman Water and Connecticut? I actually got a great email from Ray and his wife that installed a water treatment system inside of their cabin for the upcoming cabin season. How great is that? Because you know what? you drink a lot of water in the summer when you're up at the
Hey,
cabin.
hydration.
Here's the deal, though. Through the end of March, Haferman Water wants you to know that they're focusing on drinking water, the benefits of going beyond whole home water treatment systems for hard water, iron, or chlorine. See, here's the deal. Having a fully third-party certified reverse osmosis system to take reduced contaminants that are commonly found in both city and well water. And that's what I did a number of years ago. I wanted to get some high-quality drinking water, and that's what I did with my friends at Haferman Water and Connecticut. But here's the deal. Your first step is you've got to get on that schedule and have them come out for what's called that free water analysis, and they're going to give you a water score. And then based upon that score, they'll give you some recommendations on what they think that they can do to upgrade the quality of your water. And you do that by calling them directly at 612-895-2440 or visit their website, which is HafermanWater.com. Either way, you can book that appointment and then have them come out, and they're the best. And it doesn't matter if you're in the mood for a iron, rust, and odor filtration system or a brand new water softener, they'll be able to take care of you. And that's because Haferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
Here's John Haidt.
Thank you, Joe. This update brought to you by North American Banking Company. One sports note before we get rolling here. Major League Baseball season quickly approaching, and the Twins announced a whole batch of new upgrades at Target Field to improve what they call the overall fan experience for the upcoming season. One of the biggest upgrades is a market-style open concessions layout at sections 105 and 109 of the main concourse.
What, you go grocery shopping?
What is that? Yeah.
The traditional food stands in those areas have been replaced with a new open-air self-serve market. Totaling.
You're right.
What the hell? It's a supermarket.
Hey, I need some chips and some
Hey, you
apples.
go to the Twins game, bring home some milk and a loaf of bread.
I need some tape and some nails.
The area will be 4,400 square feet of renovated spaces. The new layout increases the number of registers from 29 to 41 and allows fans to get their favorite foods and drinks more efficiently. Now, options in the area will include a variety of hot foods, grab-and-go snacks, ice cream soda, and this should work well, grab-and-go beer coolers.
What's your favorite grab-and-go snack?
I don't have one.
Okay.
One of the more advanced features being added this year is the MLB Go-Ahead Entry. That's an optional facial authentication-based ticket validation system. You know what that means? You can just walk by the scanner, recognizes your face, don't have to
That's
show a
voodoo.
ticket.
Like
That's
voting,
evil.
they have made entering any major league sport, they have made it more difficult. Just here's your ticket. Give me your ticket.
It don't work that
Let's
way
go.
anymore.
You know what it is? This is all about employment, don't you think? This is all about not having to pay as many people to work a
Right,
game.
this is Trump.
Trump's fault.
Yes, he's been in there 3 weeks.
We need that comet and or asteroid, maybe both.
You know, speed it up a bit.
Any minute.
Yeah, just wipe the entire globe out.
Can we wait till Monday? Williams got a big basketball tournament
Yeah,
this
right.
weekend.
Club has also upgraded its point-of-sale technology at all concessions and premium seating locations with the My Venue system.
Hey,
The team describes My Venue as a fast, intuitive, and user-friendly technology that allows fans to quickly and easily make their food and beverage purchases. Also now, by the end of the season, the Twins have partnered with American Tower to deliver a ballpark-wide upgrade to 5G via a distributed antenna system. Once it's finished up, the cellular network coverage will be expanded by 82% within Target Field. This is all expected to be done by September. In case you're wondering about this, the home opener is April 3rd when the Twins host the Houston Astros. In news, update to a story from yesterday, the FBI confirmed a security threat that caused a Sun Country flight out of Minneapolis to divert to El Paso, Texas was a hoax. An investigation by the FBI El Paso determined a handwritten note was found on the airplane that said, "You are all going to die, help me." The note prompted passengers to report it to the flight crew, who immediately reported it to law enforcement. The flight was headed to Mexico, was diverted to El Paso for the safety of passengers and crew. During the FBI's investigation, it was found the threat was a hoax by 2 young children on the flight.
Oh, no.
Sun Country says
Didn't
the
the
flight
writing
landed.
give it away?
yeah, the
Like in
backwards
crayon?
S. Yeah,
That
right.
was my first thought when I saw the story. Sun Country says the flight landed safely. Passengers were deplaned without incident.
Here's what we have in Kenny's America. We have a Patrick Royce type as a member of every single crew that gets up in the air. Mm-hmm. Somebody who tells them the truth. Here's what we got. Let's take a vote.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Budget cuts hitting Winona State University. The Department of Defense terminated a $1.1 million school grant designed to promote civic engagement. The university spokesperson said the school was notified by the Pentagon February 28th that the award no longer, Rook, what do you think of this word, effectuates the program goals.
I'm not sure that's even a word.
I would say
it is. I had to look it up.
It is.
I would say expectuate to
You'd
that
say
word.
exfoliate.
Yeah.
It means,
Joe, when you use affect and affect, go ahead, English professor, Mr. Buzzkill. Affect and effect.
Well, affect is a
Stalling.
a thing.
Extenuate.
it's a thing.
Effect is something that has another thing.
Extenuate.
You're going to go to that movie, aren't
I know
you?
what
What's
it means.
that got to
That-
do with
that
anything,
English
Chris?
language.
I know how to
what you
use
said?
it properly.
I looked up effectuates, and that's the only word that came up.
Effect.
Effectuates, like effect, UATES.
Effect.
And it means
Effect would
It's
mean-
failed
it's a
academy
series.
terminology.
all it means is to put something into effect. So why not just say that
Effectuate.
yeah.
instead of effectuate?
Put into force or operation.
There
Doesn't
we go.
effect mean
See?
a series of events? And
No.
affect means
Let's continue with
It affects
Matt. Let's continue with the
There's
news.
a new
In fact, if
movie
you're
out
talking,
that
it's going
Joe-
to cause you to get
Yes.
stabbed.
Joe's
That's
going to go
right.
see this new movie. It's called Rebel with a Clause.
Oh
It
boy, I can't
celebrates
wait.
a woman who gently imparts grammar to strangers.
Wonderful.
Much like our friend Joe Susher.
I can't wait to see it.
Effectuate.
More news. More news about My Pillow. The Chaska-based pillow and bedding firm founded by Mike Lindell now is being sued by FedEx for allegedly failing to pay more than $9 million in shipping costs. A lawsuit filed last month in U.S. District Court in Tennessee by FedEx is the most recent legal entanglement facing My Pillow. In the past, Lindell has attributed his difficulties to getting, in his words, canceled by big retailers in response to his quest to prove the 2020 election a fake. Lindell is a staunch supporter of President Donald Trump. In January, a Hennepin County judge ordered My Pillow to pay almost $800,000 to shipping company DHL. In national and international headlines, President Trump issuing exemptions on tariffs again for some goods coming into the U.S. from Mexico and Canada, 2 days after putting in place sweeping 25% tariffs that rattled the stock markets as businesses warned the move could increase prices for consumers. This is the second time in less than 2 months that the president has announced and then backtracked on the tariffs. According to Chuck Dardis, president of Alpha USA, an auto parts manufacturer in Livonia, Michigan, the can keeps getting pushed, kicked down the road, and we don't know what that means or what we should do. Dardis says to make investments and to do things we need to do, we need some certainty. Not that we have perfect certainty ever, but not be on a constant diet of, well, we'll wait till next month to see if the axe is going to fall. U.S. continued to generate jobs at a steady pace in February, offering reassurances that the labor market has remained relatively stable since President Trump took office. The U.S. added a seasonally adjusted 151,000 jobs, according to the Labor Department this morning, slightly below the gain of 170 jobs economists polled by the Wall Street Journal expected to see, but better than the 125,000 jobs added in January. The unemployment rate, which is based on a separate survey from the jobs figures, rose 4.1% from 4%.
You know, I would say out of an abundance of caution, but I'm going to say out of an abundance of hysteria. Do you wonder if egg prices have been affected by the killing of too many chickens that maybe did not need to be killed?
Yes.
Is that a possibility? I'm not a farmer. I don't know how that
I
works.
mean, due to bird flu or
yeah,
chicken flu. or-
maybe a lot of chickens were wiped out that didn't need to be. I don't know the answer
What
to
made
that.
you think that?
I don't
Why
know.
are you saying that?
That's
don't know.
well, it's actually to defend Joe. It's a common theory among some. I don't know.
I didn't
how-
even know that.
I don't.
Among who?
What are you,
Well, I wish
Pierre
I had-
Poulier?
I wish I had
wanna
my
know
map
where-
right now.
I want to know which orifice you're pulling this out of. I mean, are you throwing BS out? Or
Me?
Is this, yeah, you.
Oh, I
You're-
just
you're
wondered
the one
it.
talking.
No, I wondered it idly. I don't have a source.
You.
I
what's
didn't
your
say it was
intention?
happening. I said I
What-
wonder if
What are your intentions by saying this?
to get more eggs on your kitchen table.
Put more food on your family.
Yeah.
Eggs are still a great deal. I don't care what anybody says. I paid $5.97 for a dozen the other day.
Well, that's less than $1 an egg.
That's 50 cents an egg.
I thought
and
eggs were like $1 a piece.
Eggs are protein. They're
And look
they're
at how
everything.
far you can stretch them, how much you can do with them.
Yeah.
You can make an egg sandwich, an omelet. You
I
can
got
make
you, Ken.
over easy.
I got you, Ken.
Or scrambled.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could get the time in the temp.
You know?
You like eggs, Joey?
In the
Egg
ice out
salad?
clock.
Oh, egg salad sandwich during Lent?
Egg salad is dog food.
No,
I
not
don't
if you
like,
know how to make
yeah,
it.
I don't like egg salad. Yeah.
You're
Sorry.
you're,
Sorry,
you guys
Mark.
are communists.
Love eggs. Don't like egg salad.
You want $9 egg prices.
Do you think I can get the time in the temp?
Yeah.
Joe is
Yeah, I was
Joe
wondering
is
if I
like
could
the way
get
he
time in
is.
the temp.
The way he is with cars, the more he spends, the better the car is.
That's how he is with his eggs.
He spends $50 for 12 eggs. You know he's getting the best.
Well, I'm
eggs.
told that you can't get a brown egg.
Sure, you
Oh,
can.
I can
You
get
got to go to a
brown
farm.
egg.
I
I'll
can
get you a brown egg by 3 o'clock.
All right.
Elizabeth Reese will get you some brown eggs.
Okay, I was just told that.
Your fish eaters are victorious. St. Cloud Cathedral over Orono 4-1.
Well, I got it. With the exception of St. Thomas, I have to root for a fish eater on Lent.
Judas.
Especially
Lent.
Friday.
Friday, you know.
I got 30 pieces of gum for you,
Yeah.
Judas.
At least 15 people injured in South Korea after fighter jets accidentally dropped 8 bombs on a civilian area during a live fire joint exercise with U.S.
Well,
forces.
that's a hell of an accident.
Yeah. South Korean military said the training in Pocheon, a northeastern city of about 140,000 people near the heavily fortified border with North Korea, was in preparation for Freedom Shield, an annual U.S.-South Korea joint military exercise that kicks off on Monday. Just after 10 in the morning, local time, 8 500-pound Mk-82 bombs were abnormally released. That's a quote, abnormally released, by 2 Air Force KF-16s landed outside the designated firing range. 4 of the bombs misfired because one of the fighter jets entered incorrect coordinates, but it's not known why the second jet followed up and also incorrectly dropped.
Why don't they
4
fly
other
over
bombs.
that Marty Allen's castle and drop them there?
I have a job right up your alley here, Joe.
Okay.
You like boats, don't you?
I really do.
A unique job opportunity at Loch Ness has come up as a full-time Nessie hunter is needed, basically to run the boat.
Oh,
The Loch Ness Center is a state-of-the-art visitor attraction and research center based in the village of Droom the Droget.
oh, and I would love to.
You've already got the hat picked out, don't you?
Oh, I have a uniform.
You got a pipe, I hope, too, right?
What's the
Badge.
bogey in the Hepburn movie where they're in a boat? That's how I'm picturing
Queen
Jill.
of Africa or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
African
The
Queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all dedicated to the geological formation of Loch Ness and the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster. At the moment, it's hiring a skipper on a fixed-term contract.
I'd have the hat with the steering wheel on it.
One of those old steamers that they used to go across Lake Minnetonka in.
I have the patent leather
mini
visor
ha-ha?
on the helmet,
Yeah.
on the hat.
Yeah.
The job begins March 31st. It'll end on November 2nd. If you're wondering about pay, there are 2 vacancies. Both pay a salary of the equivalent of about $232 per day.
That's all I need.
The roles will involve
That's a lot of money.
It'll involve operating Loch Ness Center's deep scan vessel, which take visitors on a journey through the past 40 years of scientific research into the mysteries
they're
of Loch
calling me.
Ness. I knew they would be. The successful aspects will be responsible for all aspects, or applicants, I'm sorry. Successful applicants will be responsible for all aspects of running trips, including transferring visitors from the Loch Ness Center to the harbor. The skipper will also be responsible for maintaining the vessel and safety
Not a
equipment.
problem. Tell me,
Yeah.
Rook or anybody, what's my little cottage look like in the village? Because that's where I'd stay. I'd have a cottage in the village.
It's got a grass roof, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's old school. There's a little chimney
Yep.
where there's little puffs of smoke coming because you always have a fire going
Yes.
inside there.
Yep.
It's not your main source
I
of
might be
heat, but
burning peat.
It's a darker, yeah.
Yep,
And
yep.
there's a chair.
Yeah.
There's a big oversized, like, not a lazy boy.
No, but a comfortable
just
chair.
a comfortable chair. It's
What's
adjacent-
next to it?
It's adjacent to the fire.
Yep.
And then you've got a
No, there's a lamp.
there's a lamp. Okay,
To
there's
read
a
the
lamp.
paper.
But I was going to have you have a little apparatus where it's newspapers and magazines.
Yeah, I'd have a little holder for them.
within grass.
Yes, yes.
And then, of course, I know you don't smoke, but because you're a skipper and you'd have a pipe.
I'd
You'd
have to
have a
go with a
pipe.
pipe.
Yeah.
And he'd have the blue pea coat hanging up on the
Yep.
hook.
Yep.
And then in the basement,
Next to my yellow Macintosh.
down in the cellar, in the in his chest, his big chest there, he'd have the gimp in the inside of that.
Yeah. Well, there went that pleasant cartoon
however,
bubble.
When I
What's
see
the day
people,
the gimp comes out?
when I see people approaching the boat
Yeah.
that are going to
I give a look out the window.
give a look out the window.
Yeah.
But when you're on the boat,
Yeah.
you have a towel. And what are you doing?
Oh, I'm keeping the surfaces dry. You know.
Polishing
Yes,
and
yeah.
the spinnaker.
Right,
And
no, there's no spinnakers, a sail.
ahoy, land ho.
I see him as a strict disciplinarian.
Yes. My crew would be ship shape.
I'll take Horage for 400.
Are we
Who
done?
reads?
It's up to you.
Yeah, we are. We got to call Patrick.
All right.
We are going to call Patrick, but I would like to let you garage logicians know that once again, 'tis the season. As we've mentioned here in Garage Logic, Minnesota Masonic Charities is known for a variety of significant philanthropic endeavors. Today, I want to remind you of the unique scholarship opportunity I've talked about for Minnesota high school and college students. It's called the Selfless Scholar, a truly unique scholarship unlike anything, anywhere. MMC has been providing more than $1 million in annual scholarships to impressive Minnesota students. Now, most scholarship programs require the applicant to describe their personal achievements for the purpose of benefiting themselves. The Selfless Scholar is different. It encourages students to look beyond themselves and acknowledge the extraordinary kindness of a classmate by nominating that person for their kindness and tell their story. And what makes the program especially unique is if their story is selected for recognition, the scholarship award is shared between the nominee and the nominator. What a great idea. Minnesota Masonic Charities hopes to recognize and reward those who make others feel like they matter and uncover heartwarming stories that otherwise may go untold. So the deadline for the applications, April 15th. That's easy to remember. It's tax time. For more information on the Selfless Scholar Program, please go to mnmasoniccharities.org and click on scholarships.
76. Hey, Pat, you want my prediction?
Lay it on me, buddy.
Moorhead Spuds are going to win the hockey tournament.
Good. You know what they got going on their side? Genetics.
They got depth, too. They got a Cullen. They got all kinds of stuff.
Kraft. They got a Kraft. They got 4 goals yesterday.
Yeah.
His old man.
Boy, are they a nice club. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Yeah. You know who else they got on the team? Sonny Gulsvig
Yeah.
was the longtime Concordia University basketball coach up there. Concordia College basketball coach up there. Long ago.
Uh-huh.
And his grandson is one of their star players.
Well, they have lineage then, don't they?
He married into a hockey family. I guess one of Sonny's kids married into the hockey family, and then now they got this player. And Sonny's widow is 95, and she's still watching from her senior apartment, watching the grandson.
Wonderful. I predict they will beat Edina tonight, and then they'll beat probably who's St. Thomas playing?
Stillwater.
Then they'll beat Stillwater.
Pat, that's a nice story about her, but you'd think at 95 that nice family could maybe pick her up and give her a ride to the rink.
Well, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's like some of us other old folks and would just like to watch it on TV.
True, that's true.
What's new in the world of sports, Patrick?
Which I would like to watch on TV, but I don't know how. I don't know how to get the KSTP app on my television. So the hockey tournament, I have followed it by looking at Twitter and other things like that because I can't see the games. So
I get them at home on TV.
yeah,
but I
but
got
you
cable.
You got cable, yeah. Channel 45 on
needs an
cable.
antenna.
So anyway, what else is going on? Not a diddly dang, is it?
I don't think so. We got the Arnold Palmer taking place at Bay Hill.
Yes. Boy, what did they do about 7-8 years ago to toughen up that golf course, man? They, they were shooting 22 under, and all of a sudden they're back to if you get to 10, you might win the thing.
Yeah.
They've made it really tough.
I don't know the course well enough to know what they did.
Well, I mean, they've tightened it, obviously, but I don't know. Did you ever play that? You played there in your visit?
I have not. I visited there, but have never played it.
I played there 3 or 4 times, which was a disgrace to the golf course. But it was. In the early years when we still had reptiles cruising around the place. So, yeah.
I don't like that.
You want a golf course free of serpents?
I don't want to see a big croc pass in front of me on the fairway.
No. Well, how about I've told you this story. I hit one over by the trees, right? Into the jungle about a foot, and I walked over there, and I was going to get it, and there was a snake wrapped around a tree. It was like, he was, I don't know, he was just having fun, I guess, exercising or something.
Did you tease the serpent?
And I got the hell out of there. You can have the golf ball there, fella. I'm going out. That gives you a free drop out in the middle of the fairway if there's a snake, doesn't it?
I reached into a pond at a Florida golf course for a ball. Probably not even mine. I like to find golf balls.
Yes.
And my hand, as I looked down, was about 6 inches from a gator.
Ooh.
And I ran backwards faster than most people can run frontwards.
Of course, Florida was also wasn't it Florida where you kicked the sand ants and ended up almost having to have your foot amputated?
Yeah, I had the what are those ants
That was in
called?
Florida.
Fire ants?
Fire ants ate my legs.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think my favorite malady was on the golf course. It wasn't me, but it was one of my partners. Down in Arizona at the Estancia, one of those flying cactus bulbs.
Yeah.
Got in a guy's leg about 5 inches. He's walking around in shorts, and all of a sudden he's hopping like crazy. And get this out of me! I'm not getting it out of you. If I put my hand in there, it'll be. I'll have them on me. So it's your own problem.
That's like that one great commercial where the guy's running through the desert and he gets bit by the snake on the high up on the thigh. And he says, somebody's going to have to suck the poison out. And the guy says, I'll go find somebody.
Well, there was a guy yesterday in the Daily Mail where the snake clamped onto his unit.
Oh, I don't like when that happens.
He's telling
What was
everybody.
he doing out there on a swim? He was swimming.
I don't know, Pat. I just saw the picture.
Didn't ask for full
Couldn't stand to read the
Well,
story.
I couldn't stand to read the story.
If it's in the Daily Mail, though,
It might be not true. I understand. I understand.
Right.
Say, is there a Gopher basketball update that we need to be aware of?
We're on the bubble.
He's still got the the bubble of what? The bubble of making the top 15 in the Big Ten tournament. They're at Rutgers, right?
Yep.
They're at Rutgers. I really think that we might have saw Coach Johnson's last gasp on Wednesday against Wisconsin. Did you see the look on his face? Anybody watching that?
I did, and Pat, it looks like a guy that knows the end is near.
He had that look that last minute of I really needed this one, So
Well, what does he expect? You're not getting any players to come here for the NIL money.
No. Now, Chip Scoggins from our paper had a piece a couple of days ago suggesting that Coyle was going to try to do something about this and spend some money on baseball, and this $21 million that they're getting to give a bigger hunk to men's basketball than they originally intended. So we'll see, but I don't think Ben's if he's gonna do that, he's not riding with Ben. I don't know. People are talking about this guy at Drake who's done well, Ben McCollum, but he was at Northwest Missouri until a year ago. I saw him play at Mankato last March, and great game. He got beat, but he's a ball possession guy. He's not a run up and down the court guy. So I don't know what they're going to do, Joe.
All right, thank
you. If you get over there and look at the crowd, man, I wouldn't say I'm the average age, but I'm damn close.
Yeah.
It is an old audience. There's people. they have more season ticket holders than who were there when Musselman was there than they have new ones.
Pat, their crowd is grandparents taking their grandkids. That's the crowd at a Gopher basketball game.
Unless they play the Badgers, then the Badgers bring 4,000 people, and we got to sell out.
That's
How
true.
about that?
Yeah.
Imagine if they played St. Thomas.
That's right. That would be. Hey, Tommy's. They won their first rounder. They're in the. I think they got the number 1 seed now. In the wait. They could. The men's team could get to the finals here with they're the 2nd seed. In the men's
Where
team.
has the St. Thomas College men's hockey team been playing their home games? Out at the academy?
Yep.
That doesn't hold any people.
You can put 1,000 people in there if they really squeeze them in. But, they needed the hockey ring. You know who's happy that he didn't stay that he got fired where he used to be? The St. Thomas coach, Rico Blasi. He was the coach at Miami, and they kind of fell off, and they didn't make the tournament, and they fired him. And 3 years later, Miami is 0-21-1 in the NCHC without Rico. Rico's got to be happy he's at St. Thomas.
What does he do? Coach the hockey team?
Oh, coach the hockey team, yeah. They went outside for a hockey coach.
All right. I wish you could watch the hockey tournament, but I'll tell you all about it on Monday.
Oh, well, I've been told that I can, if I really look hard, I can find the KSTP app. But my efforts so far today have not been successful.
All right, thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you later.
Speaking of updates, do I have one for you? I got a text this morning from Linda Keller in Keller Tax Service. She says, Reavers, apparently I'm having so many GLers overload my website. I'm having some tech problems on my website. So please tell the listeners that if you are unable to book your appointment online, just call the office directly. I still have many open appointments available for tax season. I've got a call in to fix the tech problem. It should be up and running soon. So if you do go online to kellertaxservice.com, just know that Linda understands that she's having some issues. So just call the office directly, and you can get that phone number directly at the website. But here's the deal. You're running into crunch time here, ladies and gentlemen. We're almost close to a month till tax filing day. So don't wait. Get on the schedule now and have the best handle your taxes. And it doesn't matter. Maybe you have just an individual return, a joint return. Maybe you've got a business to handle tax issues. I just gave a recommendation to a local business owner in my city of Jordan, Minnesota, and they're going to go with Linda Keller and Keller Tax Service, and that's because she's the best. And the thing is, once you have her do your taxes, well, now you've got a guy, or in this case, a gal, but you've got someone that's going to be able to handle your, and she's one of us. She's a GLer, and she's going to handle your taxes from here on going forward. She'll notify you throughout the year, and she'll send out your returns quickly. She usually turns those around within a week or so. But all you got to do, just mail your stuff into Linda Keller, and she'll take care of it for you, and you'll be up and running in no time. So check out that website, even though she's got some issues, but kellertaxservice.com. You can also see up-to-date tax information on that website as well. kellertaxservice.com. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about her on the Garage Logic podcast.
Finally, thank God today is Friday. TGTI Friday. It's the scramble!
It is the scramble, and it's not a 'tis the season thing. Anytime there's a clogged drain, that becomes a major problem. So when it comes to keeping your plumbing and your drains running smoothly, remember unclogdrains.com. That's easy. That's the website for the McDonoughs, and they're the team to trust. They specialize in, of course, in unclogging drains, cleaning out those sewer lines, performing preventative maintenance to avoid costly backups, and they are costly. So whether you're a home or business, they handle everything from minor blockages to major drain issues, including water jetting, video inspections, which are very important, and even grease trap cleaning for commercial kitchens. And they got those big, giant vac trucks, the huge wet-dry vacuum trucks that clean out catch basins, flammable waste traps, elevator pits, and much, much more. What sets them apart at unclogdrains.com? Expertise, honesty, and exceptional customer service. They're known for transparent pricing. Their jobs are priced by time and materials. No hidden fees. That's nice. Their commitment to doing the job right the first time so they don't have to come back. Visit unclogdrains.com or buzz them up at 651-436-3370. That's unclogdrains.com and let them know that the Rook sent you. Right?
Did we play the scramble?
Yeah. Something like that.
We had to take a day off from the Feeding Our Future trial Wednesday because of the snow, but it resumed yesterday, and prosecutors are wrapping up their case against Amy Bach. And they called 2 FBI forensic accountants to the witness stand yesterday.
Okay.
And we learned quite a bit of interesting information. They found a laptop for Amy Bach in her bedroom, and it had spreadsheets and invoices and records. And they seized that from Bach's home and the Feeding Our Future office.
Okay.
Because Bach is claiming, of course, she has nothing to do with
She
this.
didn't know anything, right? Yeah.
The prosecutors argue that the documents show Bach was in control of the finances at Feeding Our Future, and she signed off on various payments to the meal sites. Bach's defense attorney questioned the accountants about a handful of emails and documents that weren't sent to Bach directly, arguing that other individuals could have been managing the payments. Well, one of the FBI accountants told attorneys that investigators found uncashed checks at Bach's home during a search warrant. The accountant also explained, we're getting to the best part for today's Feeding Our Future Laugh Fest.
Yep.
The accountant also explained how investigators quickly realized meal count numbers didn't make sense. And they used Lake Street in Minneapolis as an example.
Their heads.
They're going, wait a minute here. According to their records, accountants say that in April of 2020, a handful of meal sites located on Lake Street were claiming to serve 30,000 meals per month. By October 2020, a few additional meal sites were operating on Lake Street, and altogether the sites were claiming to serve 580,000 meals per month.
No, these are inner city kids, and they're hungry.
Well, this gets better.
Yeah.
By October of 2020, a few additional, I said that, 580,000 a month. Here's the best one. By April of 2021, FBI accountants say 21 meal sites were operating on a 1.8-mile stretch of Lake Street, and together, just on a 1.8-mile stretch of Lake Street,
under 2 miles.
They were serving more than 1.7 meals a month.
You could set the meals out, and they would reach
1.7 million meals?
1.7 million meals a month.
Wow.
On a 1.8-mile stretch of Lake Street at 21 different sites.
Divided by 30.
That's a lot of kids that got fed.
You know how many meals it is per day, which is almost as shocking as 1.7 million?
Huh.
That's over 56,000 meals a day.
Well, here, Chris, the monthly total breaks down to about 59,000 meals per day at a time when enrollment, let me turn the page, when enrollment citywide at the Minneapolis Public Schools was around 36,000 students. Prosecutors are planning to wrap up their case today.
Well, you eat twice, though. So that's 2 meals per kid. Holy
The defense will take over after the prosecutors wrap up today. Bach's defense attorney, Kenneth Udoabach, says Bach wants to take the witness stand to defend herself. I can't imagine how.
That'll be fun.
But Udoabach says he is advising her not to. He is also prepared to call in other witnesses. Oh, you scammers are about to get what you deserve, I hope. Although it's Minnesota, for all I know, you'll be given a company position at the state level. I don't know.
That lawyer should be advising her to fake her own death.
Oh, my God. 1.8-mile stretch of Lake Street, and they were serving 1.7 million meals a month. Well, you went to work every day and then paid your taxes. But you know what Amy was doing?
Fighting.
She was helping a lot of fraudsters achieved the American dream.
Isn't that the way? That's why they came over here. We need money fast.
It was very kind of her.
Very helpful.
Yeah. Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga province. Remember that? Mpumalanga province, South Africa.
Yep.
From our traveling Lymans. It was on this day.
March 7th already.
Isn't that something? Well, it was a very important day on this day in 1882. The Minnesota State Butter and Cheese Association was organized in Rochester.
Okay.
All right.
Somebody had to start one.
The group promoted dairy farming in the state and counts among its successes the Grand Sweepstakes Award for the best butter at the 1885 World Industrial and Centennial Exposition in Nolens.
No butter.
Can't beat a good butter. Baloney.
What's so crazy is every single little small town in Minnesota had their own creamery.
Yeah.
Just 5 miles apart. Every single town had a creamery.
And probably the butter at each one tasted differently.
Yeah, and it was all the best you could buy.
Oh, yeah. So we've gone from the foundation of the... Do you think it'll make this day in history that yesterday we learned that the Ag Department is holding an LGBTQ plus A minus B 321X14 an affair for farmers?
That's true.
I wonder if they have any opinions on the uses of butter.
I don't know. Be an interesting question, wouldn't it, Kenny? On this day...
That was an okay, Kenny.
On this day...
March 7th.
In 1913, I remember this happening on this day. It was 1913.
Oh, I was going to say you were around?
Well, I don't remember it. I remember reading about it on this day. Early this morning, on this day of 1913, a plainclothes copper was beaten and thrown out of a room at the St. Paul Hotel where members of the state legislature and their friends were said to be playing cards.
Ooh.
The officer returned with 6 more plainclothes men, and exiting scenes followed.
Exciting.
Yeah. Oh, exciting scenes followed. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Well, exiting too, I would imagine, including the flight through a window. What is that called? Anyone? When you throw someone through a window, there's a word for that.
Fenestrate.
Thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
You mean you throw them?
A lot of pressure.
They throw them.
Throw them.
Throw them away.
Throw them to the window.
Including the flight through a window into another room by a man who had hit the first policeman with his fist. Although at least one man was told to appear later in court, the entire matter was dropped, while the legislators complained of a frame-up by the police to make trouble for members in disfavor with the city administration. So they were engaged in mischief in 1913. Yep. It was all... cover your back, and I'll take care of you.
That wasn't us.
That was they. You know what they did? They denied everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did they blame Trump?
They blamed Trump. And on this day in Minnesota sports disappointment history,
on March 7th,
was on this day in 1954.
Oh, I'm out.
The Lakers played a game with 12-foot baskets.
How'd that happen?
12-foot.
What are they supposed to be?
10.
Well, somebody didn't adjust them.
Well, you know who it's probably behind it way back in 19...
Sid. Yeah.
Sir Sidney.
On this day.
Oh, we don't... Those are fine.
On this day.
March 7th.
In 1967, Frank...
Was this the extended play version?
Fran Tarkenton traded away.
Oh.
I think he went to the Giants, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
On this day, on March 7th, on this day.
In sports history.
March 7th.
March 7th, March 7th, yeah.
Did you say 67? Hold on, stop. Did you say 67?
Yes, I did. He was their quarterback from 61 to 67. Through 67.
And then he came back.
And he came back after a stint with the Rangers.
Nope.
Or the, what are they? The Giants.
Where's the party?
We're limping to the week finish line.
We really are. And finally, on this day,
on March 7th, Joe,
in 1988, sanctions were handed down against the Gopher basketball and football teams.
Was it academic?
I doubt it. It was never an academic problem. I think we had some.
Well, yeah, that's what got Clem was academic.
Well, whatever.
Okay.
That's what.
Yeah, it was the.
That's when it happened.
Noted.
It was the feminine system of females in Spain.
Yeah,
or something
Courtney
like
James.
That.
Courtney
Yeah.
James had that paper.
Right.
That got
Well, he
him
did
buzzed.
an outstanding paper on the menstrual cycle.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Her and Gengelhoff.
Yeah.
Gengelhoff.
Yeah. That was on this day. In
That was Clem's demise.
1988.
No, that wasn't Clem.
No.
I just threw that in. Clem was academic. Okay, let's just. Okay.
Why don't you wrap it up?
Yeah, let's just hit that button right
Yeah.
there. Hey,
talk about Fridays.
do us a favor and hit subscribe on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right. How about this? We're going to eclipse 14,000 followers over the weekend. That's my prediction. And I'm just an amateur prediction maker. But yeah, thanks to all of you that are interacting with the show each and every single day. Coming up, yeah, each and every single day around noon or so, we kick things off in the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And you can also see full segments, some video shorts, behind the scenes coverage. It's all there for you on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And follow us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, X, and Instagram. And sign up for the Daily Logician. It's an email. It comes right to your inbox each and every single day. And it includes the episode, the most recent episode of the podcast. It's there for you. Just sign up right now at garagelogic.com. Have a great weekend.